How's it going, people? Simon Slav here, and this is your update for today. A few things have been added to the game, well, posted I should say. They've mentioned the legacy mode and when it's going to be launching. Additionally, there is a developer's blog I just ran across, which is actually talking about the grouping system, which we heard about once upon a time ago. Additionally, some update? I don't know if that's the right word. An update to runes. So yeah, let's get into it then, shall we? So here we have Legacy Mode. It's going to be launching Monday. So this Monday coming up now, 14th July. So all in all, good times. It'll be coming right straight to you pretty damn soon. So this is because the poll went out and 80% of people wanted the Legacy Mode early. So here you are, here is Legacy Mode. So if you have no idea what Legacy Mode is, basically it's going to take it back to pre-EOC, kind of. It'll have the traditional RuneScape combat window ability usage, so prior to EOC. It'll also add the interfaces that were around just before it, including the resizable and the fixed version of it. It'll also have the old style minimap icons, and life points will be taken from the current 9,900 HP to 990 HP. Additionally, they're going to be bringing along the old style combat animations and different stances from back in the day. So that's basically what Legacy Mode's going to do. But coming along with this across the board as well, so EOC as well as Legacy Mode will both be affected by this. They'll be reinstating the 138 combat formula, and they've tweaked to give melee, range and magic equal contribution. If you've no idea what the hell this is, alright, at the moment you've got 200 combat is the highest combat. This is worked out by whatever your defense level is and whatever your highest combat level is. Well, prior to that, the max combat was 138, and it includes all of the melee stats, range, magic, HP, prayer and summoning. And all of those together worked out what your combat level was. And the reason why this is good is because it gives an accurate representation of how strong you actually are. So if you're going into PvP, for example, at the moment if you was to do it and you've seen two people, there's both 200 combat, you've no idea if they've got 99 and all the melee stats, range and mage, or if they've just got 99 mage and defense. So yeah, this works a little bit better. On top of that, they've fixed it compared to when it used to be out, where because there was 3 melee stats, you had defense, strength and attack. Leveling up melee actually gave you more of a combat level boost. So they've switched that around now, so range and magic will give you an equal boost to your combat level as if you was leveling all the melees. So there you go, 138 combat. I actually love this, I'm glad it's coming back. Additionally, they're going to be adding special attacks on weapons that had them previously, and they're chucking those back into the game. So if you've never played pre-EOC, prior to that you didn't have any abilities or anything. Instead, certain weapons had special attacks, which I suppose you can think of as like thresholds. They had their own little special attack bar which would refill slowly, and you'd use them to bang out special attacks, hard-hitting attacks pretty much. So they're bringing those back, and they're going to be put back into the game and you can use those. But from what I can remember off the top of my head, when I was checking out the beta once upon a time ago, when they was adding weapons with special attacks, they've actually added a couple more than what used to be in the game. So you may find that some weapons which previously didn't have special attacks will have them now. Perfect example of this is the God Staffs from up in the Mage Train Arena, or the Mage Arena, whatever the fuck it's called, up in the Wildy, that place. Because the God spells are no longer in the game, what they did was they gave all of those staffs a special attack. So they're quite a bit stronger and actually have a use. Because at the moment I think they act as level 60 staffs with no elemental bonuses. They're still pretty useful if you're at the level, but that's pretty much all they gave you, whereas previously if you used them then you could use the God spells, which were pretty damn strong. So yeah, they're adding those back into the game. Special attacks across the board. Additionally, they're going to be changing critical hit. So at the moment when you look at your armor, it'll say something along the lines of crit hit chance 0.1 or something like that, depending on what piece of item you're looking at. They're replacing the crit hit chance with strength bonuses. Now, as far as I can remember, range and mage didn't benefit at all from strength bonus. Like, not even in the slightest. There was pretty much nothing for mage for the most part, if I remember rightly. So, yeah. Hopefully they've sorted that out so range and mage actually gain a boost from it. or they've got it specific to range and mage. Otherwise that would suck kind of big balls. Melee would be massively overpowered again, just like it used to be. So there we go. Those are the global updates anyway. So future combat, they mentioned here that they're going to carry on looking at EOC and Legacy Mode and trying to fix it and chuck in some more stuff. They've also talking about the new boss, which they think everyone's going to be loving. It's the giant spider boss, if you haven't heard about it. It does look pretty funky. And it seems to be a similar kind of fight to QBD. You can go in with more people, but it makes the boss stronger and stronger the more people actually enter. So, yeah, there we go. Up to you. So the other thing worth mentioning is this developers blog which I came across. So this is about the grouping system. So they did the prototype work, and over the past couple of months they've added a load more options to it, and they've started to polish it in ready for full testing in the beta. So entry restrictions, there will be some restrictions to whether or not you can use certain things. For example, if it requires quests or certain minimum levels, then you'll be requiring those before you can actually use the grouping system on certain mini games. So Dungeoneering, for example, will allow you to select the floor theme, complexity level and group size, minimum combat level, and whether or not you want to enable hard mode. As an added bonus, certain settings can be pre-selected. Continuing with Dungeoneering, the theme will default to the highest theme you have, and the level to play with those floors unlocked. At the same time, they've also added base requirements for certain content, so you can join a group without prerequisite levels or quests. But, yeah. So listed rewards, they've added this into the game, or into the grouping system for, well, new players, if they've never done stuff before, or if you've never looked at the things before, to see what kind of rewards and stuff you can get. So the example they give is, it can show you like what items General Grador drops, or giving you some information on what Dungeoneering tokens can be spent on. So there's useful information for those who are new to the game. So if you don't know what to do, there's also a button to find a group for any content whatsoever, with the aims of working in a group with the highest player count, so you can get into a game with minimal waiting. So no matter what the game is, if it has a load of people doing it, it'll likely chuck you into that, so you've got something to do. So teleport locations. To avoid devaluing existing teleport options, you must have the minimum amount of players for the content you wish to play, and with everyone on the same world and marked as ready. With these conditions met, the group leader can initiate the teleport, which leads to a safe location, and takes you somewhere near where you need to go, I'm assuming. So they've added a bunch of buttons as well, because this is highly interface heavy, so they've added a bunch of kind of shortcuts, I guess. And you can click on it and it'll join you up with random people, but you do also have the option of specifically inviting people to your group. So let's say you're in your clan and a couple of people want to join you for Dungeoneering, but then a couple of mates and your friends do. You can just simply invite each one of those individually into your group, and then you can go ahead and do it, and it'll teleport you all up there and waddle up. So yeah, there is that. But if you don't, and you still feel like teaming up with other people, even though they may be randoms, then you can just click on it and it'll team you up with anybody else who's currently searching for the same kind of criteria as you. So yeah, there is that. So this is what it'll generally look like. So on the left hand side you've got the group list, and this is going to list pretty much all of the mini games that is actually available. And I'm assuming this 1 out of 1 and 1 out of 2 thing is the different number of groups that are available doing different mini games. So you can go to look for them, and then maybe set up a group so everyone else can see there's a group doing stealing creation, for example, and they could try and join them. So they could just literally join the queue for stealing creation and hopefully get into that group, etc, etc. So basically this is how it's going to work. You click on your group list, and then you come into the centerpiece, which at the moment is targeted Dungeoneering, so we'll go with that. This is the screen that'll pop up for you, and you'll have the requirements which you can click on. They'll tell you like the minimum requirements you need in order to join. It'll tell you some potential rewards from it. If you're new to the game, this may be worth clicking on so you can find out what's going on. And then you have a settings option, which you can change a bunch of settings. So clicking on the settings option will give you a screen similar to this. So here you can choose the minimum combat level required to join your group. You can choose the theme of the Dungeoneering that you want to do. So if you're doing warps, then you click warps. You can choose the complexity level and the maximum group size. Additionally, you can turn hard mode on or off. It's entirely up to you. So the other thing is this right hand side where it says group. So this is where different members will all show up in your group. And these buttons down here will be whether or not you want to add people into it manually and things like that. You can set up different teams and things. So yeah, this is what this little page is all about. So you can add people probably via one of these buttons here. So you can just click on that, go to your friends list, click on whoever it is, and it'll send them an invite. And when they're in your team, it'll look something like that. So you'll have the list of all the people in your group currently and what world they're on and stuff. So you can tell them all to come to your world or whatever world you plan to go to, and they'll suddenly appear like that with a HP bar. So yeah. The other thing worth mentioning is this rune, I suppose you can call it update. Basically, people have been asking to make runes more valuable, because honestly right now runes are immensely cheap, let's be honest, especially compared to before. So to kind of fix this, they're going to be doing multiple things. So one part to make them a bit more valuable is reducing the amount of runes, and in some cases maybe entirely replacing the runes out of drop tables of commonly fought monsters, particularly slayer monsters and bosses. So fire giants, for example, they drop an absolute bollock ton of fires, let's be honest. They also drop a fair chunk of natures as well, if I remember rightly. So what they're going to be doing is reducing the sheer amount of runes that you can get from those monsters. And the reason for this is basically they're trying to encourage people to go back to making runes, because since RuneSpan's come out, pretty much no one does except for possibly doing the daily Wicked Hood thing, because you can get a teleport straight in there. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the only runes that are being made. So this is trying to encourage people to go back to doing that. They're going to be reducing the amount that is dropped from monsters, so there'll be less kind of like thrown into the game automatically. Also, they're going to be changing alt running, so they're buffing abyssal familiars so that the higher tier ones carry even more essence. Additionally, essence pouches and familiars will start automatically adding their inventories to yours when rune crafting at an altar. This means that you will no longer have to craft, then unload essence from your familiar, then some pouch, then craft again, then unload even more from pouches and craft again. So it's going to be getting rid of that completely. This will also mean that you now only need one single talisman to runecraft combination runes when using pouches and familiars, because of the way that'll work. Additionally, they're going to be adding a distractions and diversions, which is single player, and this is Wizard Goldberg, and he'll be added to the runecrafting guild. Not entirely sure what this is actually going to give you because they don't specify, but in a nutshell, you'll transform some of your runes and they'll turn into a new reward. They'll be talking about the reward in the future, so we will find out soon enough. But this will allow you to get your hands on a limited supply item. So that will reduce the amount of runes that are in the game as well. So overall, the goal of the project isn't to rapidly delete runes out of the game. It's simply just to close the gap between the number that are created each day and the number that are actually used. So Goldberg will accomplish this by adding new methods of trying to trickle them out of the game, increasing the rate of rune consumption. Additionally, monsters will be rebalanced in the drop table, obviously addresses the rate of their creation. So he understands that no one likes to receive less loot, but the remaining rune drops should start becoming more valuable to compensate. So buffing all the running may seem counter to the overall goal, but it's in serious need of some love to keep up with RuneSpan. Additionally, even with these improvements, we expect the number of runes created a day will still drop, and we're happy to see a higher proportion of runes entering the game by being created by players. So yeah, that's basically what's going on. So the grouping system, they're getting along quite a lot. They've got the interface and stuff sorted out, the coding seems to be sorted. So now it's just kind of polishing and adding some small things into it just to make it awesome, pretty much. Legacy mode will also be coming out Monday, and that comes along with the global updates of the 130 combat and weapon skills and stuff like that. So yeah, all in all, that's pretty much everything. So for those of you who are still interested in waiting for the Elf City design documents, I've got the first, second and third documents out. The fourth and fifth one will most likely be out tomorrow. I'll have both of them done tomorrow for you, so no worries there. And for those of you who haven't actually seen it, well, the design documents is basically everything you could possibly ever want to know about Elf City. including all of the mini-game skills, the kind of things you can do in every single separate area inside Privzinus, and all the rest of it that goes along with it. So yeah, if you're interested in Elf City and you haven't bothered looking at the BTS from Jagex or anything, then those design documents will literally give you everything you need to know. Honestly, it's pretty damn interesting, the amount of sheer content that's being added with that city. So yeah, with that said, you've now all been informed. So that's Legacy Mode and the mods to rune crafting, which is being planned, and the changes to runes, and additionally the grouping system. So yeah, should be interesting. Wonder when that'll come out. Either way, people, you should now all be well informed, so until next time, I will catch you all later. Have a good one.